We're live! We're live! We're live! We're live! We're live! We're live!
All right, all right, all right.
We're live! So, LoveTubers, as you know, this is Reverend Valerie Love, also known as KAISI, your Divine Midwife of Soul Destiny. And today we're doing something different on the channel. So, y'all always see me, And now, today, we're actually having... Hey, Marco. Hey, LoveTubers. We gotta say hi to the LoveTubers. Hey, LoveTubers!
Hey, how y'all doing? What's going on?
So those are the LoveTubers. So LoveTubers, we're actually doing something different on the channel that I've never done before. I always love to stretch myself. Always love to do new and different things that I've never done before. And today we're doing something I've never done before. I am doing like Oprah. I'm turning over my show for the day to turning over the channel for the day, for the moment, for this show to the incredible Chris. And he is actually going to be hosting his podcast here on the channel. So I'm going to turn it over to the incredible, y'all have seen him before, Chris Golden, the incredible comedian. He got jokes. Take it away.
I got to tell you, it's an honor, Miss Love. How you doing?
Fabulous.
This is awesome. I personally, I've never either hosted a podcast on anyone else's platform either. So this is the first time for both of us. This is great. This is like two worlds colliding in a very good way. I love it.
In a great way.
In a great way. In a great way. Also, I want to just introduce you guys, everybody, to our guest. This is like a very old friend of mine, actually from high school, from way back in the day, Tyreek Gavin. So everybody, shoot out some love from your heart chakras. Shoot those love beams directly out into Tyreek Gavin. Everybody,
love beams.
Love beams.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And this is a great group of individuals getting together right now because I believe one word I would use to describe all of us is definitely nomads, because I'm the type of person, I don't like to stay in one place for too long. And if I am in one place as my home base, I still need to travel. I need to see things. I need to go places. I need to, you know what I mean? I think that's where you get a lot of the life. You can squeeze a lot more out of the rag when you're in a lot of different places. I feel like in certain places you squeeze the rag, but you can't get that juice out unless you're in a different, you know what I mean? So the name of my podcast is Blow My Cartridge, which I know that sounds a little immature. We're stand-up comedians, so it's called Blow My Cartridge. And when I talk about a cartridge, I'm talking about like a Nintendo cartridge. I don't know if you guys remember, like the Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo. They had the cartridge games, and you have to blow in them sometimes. They even like make them work. Dust to get inside of them. And that's how I feel personally about a lot of people treat their spirit sort of like this old Nintendo cartridge, right? That's been sitting in their closet. They haven't really been in touch with their spirit since they were very, very young. A lot of times when you're a kid, you're running and skipping and jumping, you're dreaming, your imagination is crazy. You can imagine shit and like really almost see it in front of you. You're very in touch with that holy trinity of the soul, the body, and the mind. And I feel like a lot of people have fallen out of balance with that trinity, and they're very focused on what their mind and their body is telling them, but they're kind of just, their soul is in the closet. It's this old Nintendo cartridge. And what we're trying to do is just blow the cartridge out, get some of the dust out, and get people back in touch with what really is the essence of what makes them them. You know what I mean? And a big part of that, I believe, is seeing the world, going different places, different experiences, figuring out who you are. So I have two lovely people here on the podcast today that I believe have done that. And I believe you, before I actually got on, you guys were having a bit of a conversation about some of like your favorite countries and places. If you guys could go ahead and get in that, just jump straight in, because I got a bagel over here with some strawberry preserves. I'm late. I was on Color People Time. I need to eat. Go ahead and chop it up.
You can always count on Chris to keep it real. He's like, I gotta wrap it up because I got a bagel. I need to eat.
I'm sorry.
You were telling me about your favorite country. First of all, how many countries have you been to so far, would you say?
35.
Oh,
nice. Wow.
35. Look.
That is, come on now. Come on now. That's lit. That's all the way lit. That is lit.
For 35 countries. And what's your favorite country out of all of them?
Like I was telling you before we started, Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is a small country. It borders China, I believe Tajikistan, Afghanistan. And you know, when you hear the name Kyrgyzstan, you hear the ending "stan," and people typically think a very chaotic country, a lot of violence. But it's a very peaceful country, and I loved it. And I'm a real avid hiker and backpacker, so you know, it wasn't a lot of tourists there. A lot to see, very scenic. I think I spent 2 weeks out there backpacking.
Ah,
I slept in a tent. I rode, you know,
ah,
via horse throughout the country, and it was
Yo,
just
that's lit.
oh my God,
yeah.
that is
This dude's on a
incredible.
horseback. What are you, a fucking Western cowboy? This guy is like really living
I
it out
like to
there.
mix it up sometimes,
He's
and
making
then
fires and shit. That's dope.
yeah, and then I'd say my other favorites were Ethiopia for sure. That was the first African country.
Ethiopia.
That
What
was
did
the
you love
first
about
African country I
Ethiopia?
went to. You know, Ethiopia is the only African country that wasn't colonized. And so you can see that when you go there. I mean, they have their culture intact. It's the only African country where they actually have a written script. They have their own language. The music, culture, the food, everything is intact. And I love that. And
Mm.
people from Ethiopia are very, very proud to be Ethiopian. And I blended in there too. A lot of people thought I was Ethiopian. And
You
I
definitely look
love
Ethiopian
the
because
vibe.
Ethiopian people are very striking and very attractive. Extremely
Oh,
striking.
thank
Mm.
you.
Yes,
Sounds good.
they have a look,
And then
and you definitely look
the,
like you could be Ethiopian.
it was great. And then the last favorite I probably would say Mongolia. Mongolia was cool.
Mongolia.
Chris.
Okay, you're naming places that I have like
Yeah.
never heard of. Well, not never heard of. The first one I never heard of. The places that I have never seen, and you're getting me drooling on. I'm ready to go see these places. So Mongolia. What's hot about Mongolia?
So Mongolia is unique. It's a very, very large country. I'd say it's probably a third of the U.S., but the population is only 2 million. So you can imagine you have all this room and a very limited population. And so people still live a nomadic lifestyle. You know, I don't know if you know what a yurt is, kind of like a I can't
Yes.
really describe
Like
like a dome thing.
round.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like yoga. Yoga people love those yurts that are like on
Right.
whatever.
Kinda. And so, you know, you can essentially make that within 30 minutes and people just kind of, you know,
You can make
move
a yurt
places
in 30 minutes.
with a team if you know how to do it, you know, if you have the experience. 30 minutes. And I did that for 2 weeks.
Wait
And
a minute, to live in. You live in this thing.
yes.
What is it made of?
The inside, the padding is like, I believe it's like fur. And it's made from I think the skin of different animals. It depends on the type, but it's really cool. And the cool thing about Mongolia, when you get in the countryside, you know, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no running water. So when I was there for 2 weeks, I didn't, you know, use a traditional toilet. You know, you just had to just go outside. You know, I had wet wipes. I drank water from the well. I was disconnected, and it was good to break free from that. You know, because we're surrounded by a lot of technology. Mm-hmm.
I love that. The first time I ever had to squat over a hole was when I went to Kenya, and while I was in Kenya and I came back, I actually was thankful for my toilets. Like you come back humbled and thankful for things that I looked at the toilet. I was like, wow, thank you, toilet.
Yo, that's like Tom Hanks when he comes back in Castaway. He's like, "There's ice in my glass." Like you just fucking shit you take for granted. It's like lit.
Yeah, small stuff. Yeah. You don't realize it till you go out. Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's so crazy, man. Like I don't have a passport. Like I've been all over America. Like I've been so many different cities, lived in so many different cities, but like I'm very in tune with like American culture and just the people here. But I would love to branch out and see like Europe, places like that. Like yeah, my girlfriend right now that I'm talking to, she actually she's from Belgium, And Belgium is right next to Germany and France and Italy. And there's all these places right around. So she's very in tune with European culture. And I've definitely been planning on getting a passport so I can actually go out there and visit her folks and to see that part of the world, because that just really fascinates me. Other countries, because I really look at America as like the evil empire. We really are. We've done so much fucked up shit, and of course, as a nation, you always want to hide that fact, and because you want everybody to feel proud of where they live and what they're a part of. But when you go to other countries, one thing I noticed just from being in Miami, really, and interacting with people that are just visiting, like tourists. Same thing with New York. You meet tourists, you meet people from other countries, and you get a little bit of taste of that culture, and they're just so much more humble. Their egos are a lot smaller. They're more hospitable. It's just, you see a lot of qualities, or me personally, I saw a lot of qualities in people from overseas and other countries that I was like, damn, I wish a lot more people were like that here, because we really have no excuse not to be like that, right? Like we have a lot of things.
Except I think America has something strange going on. Americans, I find, really do believe that they live in the best country in the world. So there's this kind of smugness going on. Do you find that too? Americans really do, and this is not the best country in the world. It's one country of about 196, and all of them have their special gems and jewels. Every place I've ever been to has something really spectacular about it, and it's just different. And I don't think there's one country better or worse than any others. They're just all different.
Yeah. And that's what's lovely is I feel like, I love what you said about Ethiopia still having its culture intact. That's beautiful, because like you said, that's one of the only places that weren't colonized. And what you see happens, of course, is when you colonize a nation, or even when if you try to just keep any group of people down, you're going to try to first eliminate their culture and disconnect them from who they are. And that's something that, not only have they done from colonizing just about every country in Africa, but you even see that here in America, just with the Black, just the African American experience, that our roots and our actual culture was completely, we were disconnected from it. And they systematically destroyed our culture. And we actually had to kind of rise from the ashes and create a new culture. But it is beautiful to see like those old traditions and culture just still intact. Like I really have to go to Ethiopia. Like that sounds amazing.
Definitely got to check it out. Great place. Yeah. Just to piggyback on that, a lot of people do think, it comes from growing up here. When I was a kid, me and Chris, we went to elementary school together. From the time you enter school, you're taught that the U.S. is the greatest country. And the U.S. is a great country. A lot of, I'm very fortunate to, be a U.S. citizen. And so you kind of learn that the U.S. is the best, and everywhere else is just kind of like, ugh. When you think of Africa, you're just like, yuck, chaos, famine, corruption, and you just, you're taught that. So a lot of America, I think, over time, a lot of Americans just feel like there's no need to go abroad. They're like, well, I live in the greatest country. For what reason do I need to go visit, China or Indonesia or, South Africa? And, I lived abroad for the past 6 years of my life. And, some of the best times ever. And actually, if I'm being honest, I actually prefer to live outside of the U.S. than the U.S. But I should be moving outside of the U.S. next year. So I'm excited to head back out.
Where are you going to live?
I find out in a week. In a week, I'll find out the next country I'll be going to. So I'm excited. Most likely, I'll probably be in Africa. So I'm excited. And
how do you find out? Do you have a certain way of determining?
It's for my job. So I essentially kind of pick where I want to go. I rank them in order, and they try to obviously get you your top pick. So most of the countries I picked were in Africa. So it's a good chance I'll be living somewhere in Africa. But we'll see. It could be elsewhere.
What are your top 3 picks?
I would like to go to Ghana. Ghana would be one.
Oh.
I mean, if I could live anywhere, I would love to live in Ghana. Ethiopia, I wouldn't mind living there. Tanzania is another place I would like to live.
Oh, Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro is there.
Yeah. But
Did you
Ethiopia,
climb Mount Kilimanjaro yet?
I didn't. I haven't been to Tanzania, but I would like to go there though.
I want to do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
so we'll
beautiful,
see. I'll let you guys know in a week where I get, but I'm excited though to head back out.
So you're doing a little cliffhanger here, Tyreek, huh? Okay. You're gonna have to come back to the comments.
Right.
You're gonna have to put, I'm going to so and so.
Right.
Not be able to eat.
I'll let everybody know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And also, damn, that's so great, man. So like, besides living abroad, because we both grew up in the States. What would you say? What would you say is your favorite state? Like out in the U.S. Have you been traveled around the U.S. a lot, or have you just spent more of your traveling time like abroad?
Definitely abroad. I mean, I've been to a number of states. My favorite one, I mean, Hawaii's definitely up there. My older brother lives in Hawaii,
I've heard so much dope shit about Hawaii. Like, I feel like I would be right at home in Hawaii. Like,
you would definitely be home in Hawaii. Totally at home. What island in Hawaii?
Oh, he lives in Oahu.
I got married in Oahu. My last marriage. It didn't work out, but the wedding was fabulous.
Yeah.
The marriage wasn't quite as good as the wedding. The wedding was amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
probably Arizona. I like Arizona. It was cool. But right now I live. Yeah. I live in California right now, and I love California. I mean, you can't beat it. It is expensive, but I mean, the scenery here, and there's a number of things to do. You can't beat California.
It has everything. It has the ocean, the mountains. It has everything. It has all the seasons.
It does.
Yeah. It's crazy. I feel like California, like it's just like a little slice of America that represents America pretty well. Kind of like New York, it's kind of the same way. It's like a little tiny mini America, but I would much prefer to be in the sunshine and the beach than to, I hate the cold, so I'm biased when it comes to the whole New York versus Cali thing.
Me too. That's why I've been gravitating to Miami, and now I'm in New Orleans. And Bali is really my soul home, and I love Dubai.
That's great. You're in New Orleans right now?
I'm in New Orleans right now.
Hey,
wow.
I flew to New Orleans last week. Yeah.
That's dope. How are you liking New Orleans right now? What's the vibe like down there? Because I know that's a very tourist state.
It's coming back to life.
It's coming back to life down in New Orleans. I said you said it's coming back to life down in New Orleans.
Coming back to life. I freaking love New Orleans. Like, I love it. Like, I could have a home here. Not live here all the time. I could have a home here. This is one of my home bases. I keep coming back to New Orleans. I've been coming to New Orleans for years. I freaking love New Orleans. And my creativity, I don't know, do you guys notice your creativity is very different in different places? Like some places like
Yes, 100%. My creativity in Miami versus here, completely different. I'm in DC right now, and this is just a very different vibration here of people and just atmosphere in general. And I was also living a lot different in Miami, and I think that can also affect your creativity. Just for me personally, it really depends on like if I have my back against the wall, I tend to be a lot more creative than when I'm just sort of comfortable. I think that's kind of for anybody though. But yeah, in Miami, that was really where I was probably at my most like peak creativity. Yeah, and I think a big part of that, like I said, was just like I was really living like a nomad in Miami. Like, I had this giant painting that I was sleeping on the beach at times, like. I was a hippie in Miami, dude. I was just going in.
Real hippie.
Yeah, it was great though. It's beautiful. Like I've talked about this before. Just the excitement of people don't realize like homelessness definitely sucks unless you're handsome. Then it's a fucking adventure. It's like every night I'm going out and I'm like I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight, but it's probably at
pretty privilege is a thing. It kicks in.
Yeah, attractive privilege is a thing. Like. I'm just saying, I had a lot of fun. And normally, and that's crazy was I normally had a place to crash that night, or I would like figure out something. Like something would come through. I'd be out partying, end up at some chick's place or something. Things just happen that way. But you know, I lived way. I wouldn't have liked it any other way, because if I would have had like a steady place to stay in Miami and were working a steady job when I first got there, probably wouldn't have gotten in as many adventures as I did and had met as many friends as I did. Because then once I actually settled down in Miami, I had a group of friends and a whole wheelhouse of people already set up that I had met through my partying crazy escapades. So now I'm like, yeah, I can balance partying with work and life. This is lit. Which is, I think, like a balance that you always have to find, right?
What brought you back to DC?
Because you've been to a lot of countries. This is something I've always wanted to ask you. What's like the most partying, fucking like fun ass country you've been to?
Definitely Korea, South Korea. That is the livest country ever. I lived there for 2 years and amazing. I mean,
I would never guess South Korea in a million years.
Me neither, ever.
They don't sleep. I mean, you could be out in Seoul, be out until 5, and there's just something going. I mean, it's nonstop. You would think that in Asia would be somewhere like Tokyo, but Tokyo is actually kind of quiet. You know, things kind of shut down like 1 a.m. South Korea, yeah, it's wonderful. I love that place. Probably my favorite country I've ever lived in. Just amazing. Good experiences out there. And
South Korea.
I don't really have
you mean they party like Trinidadians? Because Trini people don't forget about it. It ain't a party unless the sun come up.
No, I know they go hard. I haven't partied with them, but I heard they go hard.
Man, those people, you be passed out and they keep going. But they do that in Africa too, man. Africa, they go in. But when we were in Kenya, they had this thing that they do on Friday nights. That's an all-night dancing for God in the church. And they dance all night, literally for like hours. It starts at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And they play the music, and these dancers are dancing all night until the next morning. I was like, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, are we done yet? No, they still going. And I mean energetically.
Yeah, like, yo, that was my first. When I went to Miami, I went to this place that was fucking open until 11 a.m. the next morning. And I was there like 8, 9. Yeah, I was there like 8, 9 a.m. and motherfuckers were still in there getting it in. I mean, you know, Miami is a cocaine-fueled town, so there's always going to be a place like that.
Miami's a cocaine
crazy
town?
to see. I'm sorry?
Miami is a cocaine town, you said?
I mean, you know, if you're like really in the mix of things, yes. They're like,
okay.
I can't lie. There was I used to go out to a lot of bars, and it was crazy. Like this is the first, when I first went to Miami, the first chick I chilled with was this bartender chick at the Wood Tavern, and she fucking was so sexy, beautiful, knockout, 10 knockout. She's so beautiful that I'm not even trying to go have it. Like I'm not even trying. I'm just like, let's just chill, let's hang out. I'm not even gonna try to fuck you. But it was crazy. We go out and we go to the bar. This is the first time I had ever had a chick just pull out a big bag of coke and do a line right in front of me, like it was like casually, like no warning, like. And she was
this
so
is how I roll.
And she was so attractive that like what you would think of like a cokehead bitch or like a bitch that's doing coke is like some skinny, washed up. But no, this bitch was nice and casually doing coke, and it was just like I'm like, okay, apparently this is just casually cool here.
I don't do any drugs except plant medicines, but I guess bad enough. Ayahuasca, shrooms, all the plant medicines. Wakuma, I love plant medicines. Hey, they're enough for me.
For sure.
Wow.
Mother Earth has a good enough drug cabinet for all of us, to be honest.
Oh man, you cannot beat the drug cabinet of Earth Mother. You cannot.
No.
Synthetics will not do. We got some questions in the chat. Do you want to hear them? And then
I do. I did actually see that question. How would you encourage someone considering becoming a digital nomad? What's a digital nomad? Because I thought the digital world, you can kind of travel anywhere. I don't understand. What is it?
Well, it's like a double. It's digital is already nomad. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying what is a digital nomad? Because when you say digital nomad, I start thinking of like computers and the internet, and I'm like, isn't everyone a digital nomad in that sense? Like you can kind of travel anywhere on the internet world from your computer.
Oh, gotcha.
I went too deep with it. I'm sorry. I apologize. What is a digital nomad though?
I'm guessing they're referring to somebody that works remotely. You know, somebody that, let's say, for example, you do web design.
Right.
And, you know, you work from home. So somebody that could say, you know what, I'm going to go live in Barbados for a year, get Airbnb and just do your work. Then you go to Tokyo. In that sense, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that's what they mean by digital nomad.
Yeah, that is kind of a thing now because a lot of people work from just their laptop. So they're like, yo, why should I tether myself to one place? The only convenience from that is like being, you know, right by my job or the reason that people set up shop. But now in the digital age, you can really do that. You can just travel anywhere. You know what I mean? You don't have to like set up shop anywhere per se. And you said, how would you encourage someone considering becoming a digital nomad? I'm your classic hippie nomad. So I think this is more a Val and Tyreek question. Yeah, you guys, you could take that one away. How would you encourage someone that wants to become a digital nomad, Tyreek?
I don't know if I can really answer that. I mean, I've worked abroad, but I don't work. I don't have a remote job. Like I don't have any background in computers. I don't. Valerie, maybe you have that. Maybe you can answer that.
I'm location independent, and maybe that's what people are talking about. I'm location. I'm a creative that's location independent. So I have businesses, I have a YouTube channel, and I write primarily. I'm an author, working on the 20th book now. So, and I make YouTube videos. So I'm a creative, you know, inspiring and teaching and sharing. So I can do that from anywhere in the world. And I do it from Bali. I do it from Dubai. I do it from Peru, wherever I am. I can do what I'm doing. So I guess that's maybe what we're referring to. Maybe we should ask some Phoenix, Haru. Tell us what you mean by digital nomad. How about that?
For sure.
There's another one. What do you say about the people that have these biggest fears of stepping out of their comfort zone?
Oh, man. That was something that we talked about pretty extensively on the last podcast. I'm going to let you take that one real quick, Tyreek, and then I got something I'll add to that. That's pretty beautiful. Go ahead, Tyreek.
Yeah, it can be, you know, the world could be scary stepping out there. You know, it could be scary, but you just have to do it. You just, I don't know what other way to put it. You just have to just take a leap of faith and just do it. I give you an example. I used to be real afraid of traveling alone. You know, it was something I wouldn't do. Like if I would call my friends up and I'd say, hey, you guys want to go here? And if they said no, I just wouldn't go. And then when I was living in Korea, I wanted to go to Cambodia. That was like one of my dream places. I really wanted to go to Cambodia. And I asked all my coworkers, hey, you might want to go to Cambodia? They were like, nah. And I was like, I guess I'm not going to go. And now at this time I was 22 and I was like, wait a minute, man. I was like, man, F that. And I was like, I want to go, just go. So I booked the ticket. You know, I leave the airport and then, you know, a day goes by and I meet some people on the street and then I realized, man, it's not hard at all. You know, you'll make friends. You just have to be brave and take that leap forward. But when you do it, there's no looking back. You'll come out, you know, a new skill set and you'll be able to just handle everything. And most of the places I've been to have been solo. I mean, I've been Ethiopia in the villages, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan by myself, and I never had any problems. No one has ever tried to India. No one has ever messed with me. So you just gotta do it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I was going to use those same 3 words. Just do it.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat. I just wanted to say that was beautiful. Just do it. That's really all there is to it. And that's me personally. Yeah, I had to take that same exact leap of faith when I first moved from Maryland to New York City. That was actually for the business for New Age, which you're familiar with New Age, Val. And that was a decision that was mainly based around what I was doing for work at the time. But there was a very big leap of faith that had to be taken because I could have stayed where I was and still kept my job. It wasn't like something that I had to do, but it was something that I felt like if I didn't do it, I would be missing out. And the beautiful thing was I ended up going to New York and I ended up quitting that job and just never looked back. And it just been just in the mix ever since. Mainly focusing on stand-up comedy, but also just from being in the business, I learned certain skills about how to make money and how to hustle, and that you can start your own business from anything. Like you can literally go to this is how simple it is. You can go somewhere, go to, let's say you go to California, right? You're like, I want to go to California. A lot of people go to California with dumb dreams of being an actor or another, whatever, right? And they focus just on that, and then they're homeless on Skid Row looking crazy. Because people don't know how to make money for themselves. Because if you can make money for yourself, you can sort of still chase and pursue your dreams and get out of the trap of the 9-to-5. Because the 9-to-5 will rob you of all your free time. There's commute. There's the general. I need a second to wind down after work that comes into play. You got to eat. You got to sleep. That 9-to-5 becomes everything. You know what I mean? And me being in the business of New Age, I learned how to merch. I learned how to sell things. And I was very, very good at it. So once I left the business, because I was in the business, I'm like, dude, you guys are giving me things to sell and making money off of me. Well, I can just go buy these myself and sell them. Like I just realized, like I don't need a middleman, especially for this dumb sales thing. Like this is not important to me. So I left the business and I went and bought some body oils that cost me $1 a piece. And I would sell those body oils, Muslim body oils. I would sell them joints for $5. Sometimes get tips. That's a crazy return on your investment right there. That's a 5-fold return. You do the math, then it's up to you how much money you want to make. I would go out to South Beach in Miami and make $200 in like 3 hours. And then now I have the rest of the day to myself and I'm making good money. Yeah, I'm telling you, those tourists, boom, 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 boom. It's $5. They're like that. And then I'm good. I'm funny. I'm personable. People want to support a black business. I would even throw that in there. I always use the word black business somewhere in my pitch.
Do you see this, bro?
It's a little manipulative, but fuck it. You got to be reminded sometimes. Like this ain't about the oils. This isn't about the oils, man. And really, you could do that with anything. Like, just say, for example, you want to go to like California, right? And a lot of people, like I said, they go there with an empty dream and they don't have a way to pay for it, so they end up working a 9-to-5. And the dream, of course, doesn't come to fruition. Like you got to be on a certain path. You got to make a choice. You got to decide, who are you, an actor or a waitress or an actor or whatever else. And, you know, if you can make your own money, you can be always whatever it is that you want to be. Like I am always a comedian first because I can always make money at any time. And like I said, you want to go to California, it's as simple as you can go there with like $100. Go to a thrift store that's selling old secondhand clothes. Get some fucking art supplies. Take them secondhand clothes, snazz them up a little bit. Go down to the beach, sell them jeans you bought for $5 for $30. It's gonna. I'm telling you, money. There are people around with money, and if they see the hard work, and the universe is always watching. So if it sees the hard work and the tenacity, and you deciding, no, I need to make my money in 3 hours because I got shit to do. The universe has a way of getting out your way, man. It's like water. It wants to move around you. So, you know, it's a lot of people, when you talk about, you know, taking that leap of faith, is a lot of people, they think that their life is in somebody else's hands, and it's always in your hands. You just kind of decide. The universe likes decision makers. It doesn't like
and quick ones.
Quick one. It doesn't like lollygagging either and procrastinating, because that also, procrastination brings bad luck. And I've always believed that. Action brings good luck. Procrastination brings bad luck. And I'm telling you, that's real shit.
Oh, that's real.
Yeah, very real. When you just take action and go in head first, like, fuck it, I'm buying a lottery ticket, right? That's when you win. When you're sitting there like, I don't know, maybe I play the lottery next week. Yeah, maybe and then that's the bad luck.
Yeah.
You sit around lollygagging about an opportunity, and then you finally try to take the leap, and oh yeah, we already gave that to somebody else. Somebody that was willing to jump out of a plane.
Yeah. Yesterday, I gave a $10 tip to someone precisely for that. And here's why. I'm in New Orleans. I go to my favorite place to get the beignets, Cafe Du Monde. I got to get my beignets and cream, right? I'm sitting outside. I'm on the line to go in to get my beignet. And the tuba, there's always people playing music on the street in New Orleans. I don't always give them money. They're always there, right? He's outside playing the tuba, and he sees these little kids online. And what does he start playing? Shark, baby shark, shark, you know that song, baby shark.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, my grandkids made me crazy with that song. Everybody knows that shark song, right?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this is a person that is playing the tuba, is watching the people online, is entertaining them.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. The creativity alone, he could be doing anything else.
Right.
He's playing Shark Baby Shark because he saw these little kids online, and all the little kids were, and even the parents were like, Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark.
Right.
You don't know that song.
Oh my God, I love that.
You get my money all day long.
That's beautiful. Just to piggyback off that, there's something about this is one thing that people do when it comes to people that are on the street asking for money or whatever, is people like to judge that. And me personally, this is what I love to do. A beautiful thing that really blew up and opened my entire world when it came to music, movies, people, right? Is I always applaud and reward and behind when somebody does whatever they are doing well and does it right. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are asking me for change as a homeless person and your pitch is you will get nothing from me. I don't care how sad you look. I don't care. No, you're not doing it right. Now, if you're homeless, you're like, hey, what's going on, player? Hey, I like the shades. I like the shades. Hey, brother. Hey, when you come back out to the store, you mind? Bless you with some change. He's not even rushing me right now. He's talking about when I get out the store. He's holding the door for me. He's giving compliments. That nigga's getting my money. Because I don't care what you're doing. I'm not going to judge you for it. But if you're doing it right, I applaud it. Music. There's certain genres of music that I'm not a fan of. But when I hear the song like Johnny Cash, I hate country, but that nigga does it right. You know what I'm saying? And that makes me respect his music. Same thing with movies. It could even be a movie that it's about a subject that I don't give two fucks about. I just seen The Lighthouse recently. I do not give two shits about two old ass people stuck in a lighthouse together working on a goddamn Willem Dafoe. I thought that nigga was dead.
Yeah.
I digress. Old as dirt.
Right.
Wow. He's still around.
But the director, the fucking cinematography, the performances, the script, it was a retelling of the story of motherfucking Prometheus. Son, that was an amazing film. Blew my mind. And because they did everything right. And that's where it matters. And that's where you should support people. And that's where we should definitely be giving our dollars because, you know, you can't judge another person. You don't know their life. You don't know their struggle. But if you see them putting that 100% effort forward and they doing it right, I reward that.
For sure. Because for me, it's that you don't always control your circumstances and what circumstance you will find yourself in. Life has a way of putting all of us in different, very, sometimes extreme circumstances we would not have personally thought we would be in. Yet I reward the person that meets that circumstance with an unbeatable attitude.
Ah, yeah. Always in charge of that. That's what I love. And that's something that people just, it's a cliche saying, but it's like, it's really it's only 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. At the end of the day, you are in charge of your attitude. You are in charge of how you react to things and how you let them affect you. And that's something that I think every person always struggles with because
that was a struggle.
Always a struggle. And that's why it's a good thing to do. I think anything that requires practice and daily work is something that one is always going to be usually very important. And two, it's something that after a while, it becomes not work. Like eventually you will just become that person with an unbelievable attitude. You will be a person that like, damn, nothing seems to get you down. Nothing cracks you. Like I was already that person by the time I got to Miami. And that's really what sustained me was people were giving me a place to crash and looking out for me and shit. Not because I was playing the victim or because I was sitting around moping. No, I had an unbelievable attitude. They couldn't even believe I was homeless. They didn't believe I was homeless when I found out. Like, yeah, where are you going after this? I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go to the beach. Or sometimes I wouldn't even tell them, but they would find out from somebody else, like, yo, he's homeless. Like, what? And they were like, that's crazy. There's no way that guy's homeless. He's fresh. He got a smile on.
Right. How is
Because you're homeless doesn't mean you can't still look well. You can't, like, the things that you are in charge of, do them well. That's all we saying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm homeless right now.
Technically, I guess. Right. You're abroad, right? You're right.
I don't have a home anywhere. I get a home. Like, I got this home for 3 months or so, whatever. But according to the textbook, homeless, like, people are so in their mind that if you have an apartment that you signed the lease for, if you bought a house, then you have a home. Right. I don't have any of that. And I never felt more free in my life. Like, September 30th, I'll be here till September 30th. And then after that, I don't know. Maybe it'll be Seoul, Korea. Maybe it'll be Ethiopia. I don't fucking know. I don't even fucking care. Like, I have that freedom, not because I'm better than anybody else. Definitely not. I just made a decision to live free.
Exactly.
And free of my own fears that were in my head, because I had some of the same things. You know, I have this big adventure spirit in me. So I would go to places like Bali with myself and places like that. And people would be like, oh my goodness, be careful. Dude, do you know it's more dangerous for me in the United States than
right. For sure.
People have in their minds in the United States that it's actually a problem for you to go to another country. I don't know where that comes from.
That comes from, like Tyreek said, like we came up in the same school. I'm gonna be honest, like there were people in my school that were so dumb that they literally thought that we were like and I'm not making this up. This is like middle school level, which at that point you should have a bit of a clue about the world, right? And that's what's embarrassing about us as Americans. Like, in other countries, they actually find it embarrassing to not have a knowledge or be worldly about a different country or a different culture. They get embarrassed, like, oh, I should know this. Like, Americans have a pride in their ignorance. Like, what? Man, I don't know nothing about no Turkestan, none of them stands. Like, you know, them type of, like, there's actually a pride.
And the other Americans will go, that's right. We don't know what
fuck that, bro. Like, that's so hilarious. Like what you said earlier about the country having a stand on the end. There is a discrimination against stands in this globe.
There is, because you always think it's some kind of big war going on. Ooh, Kyrgyzstan. Isn't that where they have the war? We always think it's a war.
Propaganda. What were you going to say, Tyreek? I'm sorry.
No, I was you're right. You know, before I moved back here to the States, I was living in China, and you know, people would be like, China, like they got they got like clean water out there, like they got like y'all got internet, like y'all got internet and stuff like that.
And it's retarded, right?
China, it looks just like the States. It's very developed. Like, yeah, we got water. I'm, you know, I have an apartment. Like, you know, like, I don't know what goes on in people's minds, but when I tell them I lived in China, it's like China. Like, nah, like it's like here. You know,
you know why?
Yeah,
they have no like what. And it's propaganda, literally, because when you think of China, you think of sweatshops and people jumping off of buildings. It's crazy. You think of it as a hellhole. And like I was saying earlier, there's people just in middle school and high school level that were literally, they thought we were like the only country with like cities and shit. Like every other country is like some type of third world crazy. Yeah. And that's very clever propaganda from the US, because I remember growing up, the only time I would see footage of other countries would be like the Middle East, and we're going to war with them and it looks like a shithole. Or if they would show Africa and it's always some tribe that's like not developed, you know what I mean? And that really gives America's the propaganda thoughts of, yeah, we're a developed nation. We have trains. Motherfucker, everybody got that. And a lot of them are further ahead of it than you are. You got there's technology in a lot of the countries that's outranking our shit, and we looking like we're like way behind.
Dubai is definitely way more advanced than than North America. For
Japan too. Japan is way far ahead of the US.
Right, they got robots and shit, right? Like giant robots. I watch too many cartoons.
I mean, you see robots here and there.
Like I was thinking of Gundam. Yeah, I'm making Gundam references right now. Valerie Love is lost, like robots.
No, I actually was looking at some of those the other day. Police robots. And
what? Like, they really got robots?
Yeah, they had a police robot, a security robot. One looked sort of like a nursing robot. Of course, they have the housekeeping robot, but they were like a collection of robots that you could get.
And what happens when they become self-aware? Huh? Did anyone watch The Matrix? No.
It's a wrap.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
We're all doomed.
they're already offering that you can hook your consciousness up to the AI, to the singularity. So,
Oh God!
Wow.
Now that's a whole nother mind-blowing concept. That's all right, we're on the
does
blow.
that blow your cartridges?
Yeah, we're on the Blow My Cartridge podcast. So I want to get a little bit into that. Tyreek, first of all, before we move on, I had a question I wanted to ask you that I haven't been able to ask yet. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, I didn't hear you. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was gonna say I had a question I wanted to ask you because I know for as long as I can remember, you've been a very like clean cut type of guy. I don't even remember you ever smoking bud in my memory. Do you use any drugs like psychedelics, plant medicine, anything like that?
No, I
Or
can't.
have you used?
Nah, I can't. I can't do it. And I haven't, just because of the nature of my job. We get random drug tests, so all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But I'm a very, very healthy person. Like I drink sea moss. I don't know if you know what that is. Like algae. I kind of follow the diet of Dr. Sebi. So I'm really in touch with food and stuff. I just don't deal with anything outside of that.
The altering of one's mental.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. Like one thing I love to say is, your brain just alone, like your mind, like, dude, there are certain meditative practices and shit you can do. You can go in your mind. You can open up the medicine cabinet, bro. You can you don't need substances. Like they just take you straight to the top floor, but there are a set of stairs.
Just for sure,
yeah, for sure. Like, just do you meditate? I wanted to ask you if you meditate because I remember you. I remember back in. Now I'm sorry if I'm misremembering this, but I remember back in high school you were saying you were a Buddhist. Is that still true?
Yeah. So when I used to live in Korea, I used to go probably like 2 hours north, and I would do like a temple stay. You would stay with a Buddhist for like the weekend, and we'd be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And we would do farm work. We would meditate together, and it's crazy, when you meditate, after a certain amount of time, you tap into the zone, and it's just like, and when you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was somewhere else. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I try to do it, every once in a while, meditate. It's important these days. You gotta escape from all this stuff around you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I love that you're doing it the natural way. That's lit, man. Because I believe for most people, like the best answer is to meditate and not to medicate. I'm a very experienced drug user, so I kind of know these roads. I personally think that meditation is definitely the way to go, though, because that's something that anybody can tap into. It's something that they can never take away from you. I don't care if you're in a maximum security cell for 24 hours a day. You can always meditate. And you don't even need $1. You don't need $1 in your pocket to meditate. Drugs need money, and that leads to a lot of fucked up things. So for certain people that need drugs, I've never felt like a person that needed drugs in my life. But I do believe that there is very, very extremely beneficial effects that can be rendered from psychedelics and from drug use as a medicine in its purest form of what you're supposed to use it for. I think that intentions are very important when it comes to using drugs. And it's never the drug itself, because the drug is just a chemical. It's always your relationship that you have with the drug and what you're using it for. Like an ayahuasca is technically that's a mind-altering substance, but that can take people on a spiritual journey that can help them to get over past traumas and to move on with things that a lot of people have inside of them that they don't realize are kind of holding them back. And I think there's some beautiful things that can be done. Val, you have some experience with the ayahuasca, correct?
Yes, many ayahuasca journeys that are quite profound. If you can get beyond the puking and the extreme purge of it. But one thing that I found with plant medicines, because this came after having a full-blown shrooms experience without shrooms. I was in bed one day, and I had a full-blown shrooms experience. Like I had taken a heroic dose of shrooms.
Yeah.
Like 5 grams. Like Terrence McKenna talks about, a heroic dose. It was if I had taken a heroic dose of shrooms and there were no shrooms present. Why? Because for me, these plants, they're not the end. They're pointers, they're way showers for you to see how you can unlock those things in your own consciousness, show you the possibilities, and then you do it inside your own mind.
Oh, I love that. A lot of people see drugs a lot of time. I believe that too, as like this external thing that you're putting inside of you. But really, it's more like a key that you're putting inside of you, and it's unlocking something in your mind that was always already there. Something that you can access through meditation, through just certain mental practices. It's something that, you know, like I said, the drugs are just a key to the elevator, but there are stairs. Like you can always access these places in your mind.
Yes, and this is a conversation I was having with I get to coach a lot of people. And one of the people that I was coaching is this young lady, and I will never forget this conversation we were having. She's very dear and near to me. And she was having this love relationship, and I'm sure maybe all of us have experienced this. The most mind-blowing sex you've ever had in your life. And though you know that this person is absolutely dead wrong for you,
Right,
and absolutely poison to your system, the sex was so extremely off the charts that she just kept returning, right?
yeah.
So she said, when she was describing it to me, this person so-and-so, and this person, and oh my goodness, just knocks my, and she this other person was a woman as well. It was the same sex relationship. And she was saying she just knows like every, right thing. You know how the person, they just know that, and it just sets you off. And what I was seeking to convey is that person is a catalyst to what is already inside of you. And your job is to reach those heights of ecstatic pleasure within yourself, with yourself, in a tantric way, which you can do without anyone else anywhere near you. And that this person shows you that it's in you. So in other words, the person was just pushing a button that was lighting off something inside of you, and the same with all these plant medicines, but people keep the reliance on the thing outside of themselves.
Right. 100%. And then there's like, the universe will, the universe has things set in place to sort of force you to access those things on your own. Because like the thing about like mushrooms, and I use LSD too, because I'm like a true hippie. These are occasional things for me though. Like honestly, Tyreek, when I called you yesterday, it was because I completely forgot to touch base with you before the podcast today, right? When I called you, I was like on the come up of an acid trip. So I was like frantic on the phone. I was sweating. I was like, let me get this conversation over. I sounded weird. That's why. So one thing about having a trip is you always want to take care of your business first. And that was one phone call I forgot to make. But that is something that I do. Now, you would look at me like, oh, he did acid yesterday. This guy's a fucking. But I hadn't done acid in like a month. That was like a couple weeks. That was that's something that I do very occasionally because your body, when it goes on that type of journey or whatever, the tolerance for psychedelics builds up very, very fast. So when you do acid, you usually have to wait like 3 weeks to a month. Same thing with mushrooms before you can get that same experience again. So, and it also has no addictive properties. So I just feel like psychedelics is such a much better drug to use, even for pain, for anxiety, for depression, for all these other things. I would much rather people microdose some acid than to take these antidepressants, these painkillers, and all they really do is perpetuate your pain. And they're designed that way to keep you coming back and keep you dependent and reliant on this medication and this external thing. Where I feel like psychedelics, if you talk to a lot of experienced acid users, there's usually a point they went through where they were tripping all the time. And then now it's just an occasional thing because now they've unlocked that door in their mind. They have the keys in their pocket at this point. And that's something that I really respect about people that use psychedelics and are more on like a spiritual, open-minded type of drug use versus people that are trying to escape pain, like people using heroin or people who are partying, which is another form of escaping pain. To be honest, that's there's a lot of girls and people out in Miami that you're partying because you're running from something. Like you don't want to think about tomorrow. You want to be out here as long as possible, and and drugs help you fuel that. They keep you awake. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when people use drugs, they're running away from something inside themselves that they need to solve. And they're also running towards something inside themselves that they already have access to, that they don't even need the drug to access. So it's very
escapism, huh? Escapism. A lot of people use the plant medicine that is cannabis that way. They use it. It's all right about intention. Some people use it for beautiful things. Some people use it just to I gotta chill. I'm just gonna chill out. Some people use it to escape. So it's whatever you're using it for.
Exactly. That's the intention. Like we said, it's the relationship with the drug, the use that you're putting behind it. But yeah, I'm a person that I don't never judge people based on the fact that they use drugs or that they smoke or anything like that, because like I said, you don't know anybody else's journey. And at the end of the day, we're all the same. So if you lived their circumstances, you literally were born into their body, you'd be doing the exact same things that they're doing. So, I think that one thing about Americans is we put a stigma a lot on drug use, and that's really due to propaganda and lies. And like I said, the big drug corporations don't want us using these other medications because they're not addictive. They're not based on the profit margin. Most of the people I know who sell acid give acid away for free because it's just not set up to make money. And that's the problem, is this profit motive that we have in this country is really the sickness and the cancer that's really poisoning literally every aspect of our society, from healthcare to even entertainment. Like a lot of times you see things that are like, wow, you're just really trying to hit every fucking market. Why don't you just make your art? You know what I mean? Like you watch these Marvel movies and it's like, yes, they're great movies with great actors, but I'm like, damn, this is really a movie for fucking everybody. Like this is just a blockbuster blueprint, just same thing. And that's because of the profit motive. They know what works and they're going to keep doing it. That's why all these remakes are coming out, so that they can cash in on the nostalgia factor. It's just like the profit motive is a very, very bad thing in this country that's really poisoned our whole well of water. And that's a big reason why I want to get out of this country and go and explore and see other places.
Oh, so where would you go to live? Both of you, I'm curious, where would you go to live? Because I've really been thinking of Bali. I've also been thinking of Puerto Rico. But where would you go? And Puerto Rico is still the United States, of course. But where would y'all go to live? Like, where could you really live? I've also heard South Africa is an amazing place to live. So
it is, yeah, for sure. I don't know. The way my job works, I have to move every 2 years. So I'm open to anything. No place in particular. I mean, outside of Ethiopia. I mean, I could literally live anywhere. But I'd like to live in Africa. I haven't lived in Africa. I've been, but I haven't lived. I'd like to just kind of get back to the motherland, see what it's like out there. And then after that, I wouldn't mind moving to the Stan countries, like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. Those seem like pretty cool places to live. But I'm down for anything.
I'm not term, more than 2 years. Like you could live there permanently, you mean, or no?
I mean, when I retire, I can. But no, for my job, I literally have to move every 2 years. So I'm at different countries every 2 years, and then I'm moving on to the next one. But long term though, to settle down, it's hard to say. I haven't really decided. But South Africa is nice. Cape Town looks like Hawaii. It's nice. Yeah.
Nice.
It's nice. Cape Town is the place to be. Yeah.
I noticed you talk very vague about your job. Are you like a James Bond type in? Are you are you in a Porsche right now that has rockets on it?
I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Without going into too much detail, I'm a U.S. diplomat. So essentially, diplomats go overseas and they implement, help promote American foreign policy. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do. So,
hey, I'm sorry about all that evil empire business earlier.
No.
I'm just talking shit about America for an hour. We're just sitting there well, all right. My bad.
Nah, you good. Nah.
For sure. But
it's
that's
all
dope,
about
man.
perspective, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Some people may see it as an evil empire. Some people see it as freedom. Look how many people come here for freedom.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like like Tyreek said earlier, it's definitely a great country. And I'm not gonna say that it's like, oh, this is the worst place ever. No, not at all.
Yeah,
It's,
it's definitely not
I'm
perfect.
very thankful I have a U.S. passport. That is like the number one passport outside of the UK. I think that is the number one passport to have on the planet currently. I don't know what
Right now, it sucks to have a U.S. passport. So I'm actually going on vacation next month, and I was looking, okay, where can I go? Right now, there's less than 20 countries we can visit with our passport. We're essentially banned from all of Asia, all of South America, and the countries that are open. Let's say for a lot of Caribbean countries are open. You have to quarantine for 14 days, and you have to present a negative COVID test. So if you're just going for a casual vacation, it doesn't make sense. No one has money to quarantine for 14 days and then start their vacation after. So we're really limited in where we can go because we're banned from the EU. Like if you went to France, first you wouldn't even be able to board the plane. They wouldn't even let you board.
right.
So it's a great passport, but right now we're limited. There's a few countries in Europe we can visit: Albania, Serbia, Macedonia. But other than that, we pretty much stuck here.
Well, I'll take that back then because it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, it will be after COVID. It will go back to, but like right now, we are literally we can't even go to Canada. They wouldn't let you fly to Canada. We're banned.
Wow.
There's a ban on the border.
How about
Yeah.
Can you hop over to Hawaii since that's still U.S.?
Hawaii, you have to self quarantine for 14 days. So again, it's like unless you just like yourself, you have, if you're going there for vacation, it doesn't make sense. Because who has money to quarantine for 14 days? It is like, all right, now that we're done, let's start the vacation.
It's time to go back.
You need a lot of hotel money for that. You just have to have it to be doing something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about Puerto Rico? Do you know? Same thing with Puerto Rico or not really?
I looked at Puerto Rico because I want to go there also. Yeah, you need to have a COVID test. And these COVID tests, they want you when you go there, they have to be like within 48 hours. So that makes it kind of tricky because what if you bought your ticket for next month, right? And you're like, okay, I don't have COVID. Then you really have to make sure you don't have COVID. You have to isolate yourself. And then take a test. And so if you slip up, let's say you don't have COVID now, but you go to the grocery store and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna take the test tubes before I leave. Now you got it. You wasted all your money. No refund on the flight.
Oh my goodness.
It's hard. Yeah,
in other words, stay your ass at home. In other words, I think.
But you can go to Serbia. You can go to Serbia.
You want to go to Serbia. What about Nepal? Because I have really been being called to Nepal over the last few months. What about Nepal? Just
Nepal is great. I went to Nepal in 2014. It was a great country, one of my favorites. But yeah, we can't go. Yeah, we're banned.
Banned from Nepal. Okay.
Damn, the U.S. is on a timeout right now. We've been bad.
I think I need to get that second passport from Ghana, like they're talking about, or maybe something else.
Yeah,
I think
I think if you're African American, I think Ghana's given the dual citizenship to all African Americans. So I mean, if you can, that's the come up.
That's lit.
I'm definitely getting that Ghana citizenship. I'm definitely getting it.
A lot of African. I saw it. There's a family on YouTube. They live in Ghana. They literally just packed up and moved as a family. And I thought that was pretty cool. I don't remember the name of the family, but I'm sure if you Google them on YouTube, you can find them. But everybody loves Ghana from what I hear. I've never been, but I've heard like great reviews. Like it's the place to be.
Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. It looks so beautiful. Everything I've seen about Ghana looks very beautiful. And that's safe, prosperous, good food.
Yeah, you were asking about like anywhere we would like live or settle down. I'm a beach guy. As long as there's a beach. Let me ask you, probably, of all the countries you've been to, which one would you say has the best beach scenery or beach atmosphere?
Well, I'm sure Valerie can vouch for this. It's Indonesia, right? Yeah. They got some.
Oh, nothing like it. Nothing like the beaches.
Thailand also. Yeah, Indonesia is the place to be, for sure. Beautiful.
The beauty of Indonesia. I've just never seen anything like it. It's just got this, it's a jewel. It's got this rare mix of a lot of things that come together so beautifully, like the spirituality, the people, the good food, the vibe, the flowers. It's paradise for me. It's heaven. It's heaven on earth.
You got to get that passport, bro. You got to get that passport, Chris. You just got to go out and live in another country for like, I don't know, give it 5 months and just see how you like it.
For sure. Definitely. I would love to do stand-up comedy in another country. That would be amazing. Just if I went somewhere that they, you know, most of the people speak English, and I can go up and do some jokes. I think comedy is one of those things you can kind of go anywhere and do that. So that's a beautiful thing. I've always been interested in what that would be like to do comedy like outside of America. Just as people experience the same type of things and same type of shit to talk about. I think it's very dope.
Right.
Creativity. Sure. That's creativity.
100%. I actually, I do have to wrap this up, guys. I wanted to keep it to like an hour. But this has been like a really beautiful conversation. Thank you so much, Tyreek, for taking the time out to be here and to, you know, participate in this. I really appreciate that, bro.
Nah, thanks for having me, man. It's my first time doing a live stream. It's kind of lit. Okay,
that's what's up, man. Yo, feel free to come back on anytime. I have a lot of different guests that I have planned for this thing. And you're definitely a person that has a lot of insight to share, a lot of stories, good conversation. That's all I'm looking for on these podcasts. Like for people to come on that are just interesting and have things to offer and things to talk about. And Valerie, you already know we have some beautiful conversations every time we talk. So this is
amazing.
Once again, amazing. If you guys have anything you want to plug or talk about before we wrap up,
I got nothing.
Nothing to plug.
What would you say to people who, I was curious, what would you say to people who want to travel to all these places, and you've been to 35 countries and lived so many places? What would you say to people who are just kind of, they want to, but they haven't?
I'd say a good piece of advice is to start with an easier country, right? You're not going to travel alone for the first time and step into India. It might be too intense for you, you know, especially as a female. It's too much. You gotta work your way up to India. Go somewhere easy. Let's say you do something like, you know, London, you know, say Belgium. You know, a lot of people speak English, not many barriers, it's safe. You know, you won't really, it's not that challenging, you know. And then after you do a couple of those, then you step it up. You go to like a Vietnam. Then after that, then you go hard. You go to a Ethiopia or something like that. But yeah, start small. Even if it's Canada, you know, do a Toronto or something like that. That's how I did it for me. I started small, and then now I feel comfortable to go anywhere by myself. I mean, Pakistan, I'd go by myself if I could.
Do you feel like a global citizen?
I do. It's crazy. I'm from, born and raised in the U.S., but like I'm 29 now, but I spent the majority of my 20s living outside the U.S. And, even coming back here, I had like reverse culture shock. Like, like I was like, oh man, like I forgot how it is, here.
Yeah.
Most of the people I was dealing with, were, foreign citizens. So it definitely was a shock. But no, I feel like a global citizen. I don't feel too tied down here.
One other question I want to ask you before we wrap it up, Tyreek, because you've been to so many different countries, and you said there was like sort of a reverse culture shock when you came back. What are some of the principles and values and behaviors that you see common in a lot of other countries that you think the U.S. could maybe implement more just in our culture?
I think Americans, we live in a very individualistic society, and there is really family based. I'll give you an example. Right. In the U.S., when the child turns 18, they're like, man, you're a grown man. You need to get out this house. 18 years old. What you doing still living here? And
right.
Women be like, damn, you live with your parents? And, so, this child or whatever, he or she will move down the street 30 minutes away and be paying, $1,500, $2,000 a month on an apartment when he could be living with his parents for free, saving that money. And then after the end of, a certain amount of years, you have enough money for a down payment for property. In Japan and Korea, they don't do that. Like if the child is unmarried and they're just working, this concept of pushing your kids out, they don't do that because they realize it's a waste of money. And another thing, it kind of relates to COVID. In Japan, when I lived in Japan, if somebody has a cold or the flu, they'll just wear a mask. And so when I moved there, I saw that, okay, on the train, you see people wearing a mask. And they're like, oh, that dude has a cold probably. He doesn't want to give it to other people. But here in the States, a lot of people were having a hard time wearing the mask. Even, let's say, COVID was a hoax, right? At the very worst, all you did was wear a piece of cloth on your face for 30 minutes when you went to Walmart. That's not really... That's not doing anything for you. But people don't care about other people. And that's the biggest thing I learned between the U.S. and particularly Asia. It's a collective family thing. And here in America, it's all about yourself. Like, if you want to get married to somebody in another country and their parents is like, nah, we're against it, that person will reevaluate. Like, it's a family decision. And the States are like, nah, fuck that. Like, I rock with him. Boom. And that's the biggest difference between the two.
Wow.
Oh, I think that's very beautiful. Yeah.
That is beautiful. Taiwan was the first place I saw where they had the mask on. And at first, I thought people were sick. Like, I didn't understand what it was about. And I actually asked. Why do people, because I would spot people here and there that would have on masks. And I asked, why do they have on masks? They said, oh, well, if you wake up and your throat is a little scratchy or you feel a little something coming on, you just put on a mask because when you go out, you just don't want to, spread that to other people. And I thought, that's a beautiful thing. Like in America, I've literally been on the subway in New York City and people cough on you, sneeze on you.
Yo, that's the worst. That would really kill the whole vibe in a car when that business guy comes on and he's clearly sick. He's got like a handkerchief. He's coughing. I've been on cars with dudes like that. I'm like, dude, I am getting out of this car at the next stop. I'm going to the next car. This is crazy.
We have no concept of that in America. None.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because, like, if that was just already a built-in concept like it is in a lot of other countries, I think our COVID numbers would be a lot different. But,
Could be. And the other thing I like about what you said about the young people getting married, the same way as in India. Because in India, you're not going to be marrying somebody that your parents arranged the marriage. And what I love about that is that people are not automatically madly in love with this person, but those relationships last for so much longer. And over here, everybody's getting all married for love and jitters in your belly. And that's over in like 24 months max. Maybe.
Yeah.
that's so weird because I think that's something that, like, when you're, I'm sorry, Tyreek. I think that's something that, when you're forced into it, just like, all right, let's make this work, and then you work on it and you build it together. Versus, this ideology here of just like, this isn't awesome anymore like it was, so I'm gonna find someone else and get that awesomeness back. Okay.
Yeah.
And we keep doing that.
Jumping from awesomeness to awesomeness. We're like relationship nomads, and that's not a great nomad.
Which
That
is not
true.
the best way to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because relationships take work, right? It's not, it's something you have to build. It's not some, and like you said earlier, great sex does not equal a great relationship. And a lot of people get the two confused. We also are a very superficial country that gets caught up a lot of times in looks and status that you get from being with a certain person that's a certain level of attractiveness that people also chase. When it comes to the whole trophy wife thing, like I have personal friends of mine who have been with girls that were completely not good for them, but they're like, yo, but it's like I get to pull up at the comedy show with this fat bitch every time. And I'm like, yeah, but I've seen her pulling up at other places. Never mind. You know what? Never mind. He's out here
true.
creeping. But different strokes, man, different societies, man.
Nothing is going to circumvent coming home to the self and looking at the end of the day, you have yourself to look in the eyes of in the mirror at the end of the day and appreciating and loving what you see. That's your job, right?
And I think that's a big problem is a lot of people aren't like, they're not whole with themselves. They don't even love themselves. and they're trying to go and love another person or have another person love them. And what that ends up being is it's like a vampire situation where you're sucking the life out of this other person. And most relationships, in order for it to even survive, one of those two people has to love themselves. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time. Sometimes it's a super toxic relationships where both of them hate each other and they hate themselves. And you're like, why are y'all together? It's because I hate myself, and the little bit of love that she has combined with my little tiny bit of love, only way we can both survive. And it's like, wow, this is
Yeah.
But some people thrive on drama too, you know.
That too. People need something going on. Like those dramatic ass couples, usually one of them is jobless, they're broke. Like there's nothing going on. Like the financial problems will all also add to that, but also when you're not making money or when you're broke, a lot of times you're also stagnant or inactive, and you're spending a lot of time with that person, and they become your life. They become your excitement and your ups and downs and your, you know what I'm saying? And people try to build a life around this person in this relationship. And it's like, damn, like, what if this person goes away? Then what? Then who are you? Like, you know what I mean? So I think the most beautiful relationships is two whole people coming together and combining that into some type of infinity sign instead of this broken hole with a crack in the middle. You know what I mean?
You have no hole.
Exactly. Because, you know, if you take this apart, infinity is forever. And if you take it apart, both parts are still whole and they're fine. You know what I mean? And that's, people need to be coming together because they're adding stuff to each other's bowl. And now they both have this delicious bowl of chili and shit. You know what I'm saying? Instead of somebody showing up with a bowl of chili, and now you got to share it with this other person, and now you're hungry and they're hungry. It's like, what are we doing here?
That's deep. Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's why I love when we go overtime, because we always end up getting some other beautiful point churned out, and that's amazing. That's what this is for, you know. I personally just love the art of conversation, and I feel like in general that's one big problem with our society right now. Maybe it's just with the social media interactions and the fact that people are very, very busy now. Is that I think a lot of people are very starved and almost in like a famine level for good conversation, for stimulating conversation, for going deep on subjects. And that's why a lot of people walk around and they're angry and they're typing long rants on Facebook, and people are, you know what I'm saying? They're thirsty for actual people hearing them and for like hearing other people, because a conversation is like an act of breathing. You're breathing out, you're taking in, breathing out, taking in. And when people are online, they're just doing a bunch of just mouth breathers, what I call it. And they're just fucking, you know, nobody's listening to them, so they're angry, and they're just, and people would spend more time putting their devices down. I know I sound like an old man, but people spend more time putting their devices down and actually truly connecting to people on a face-to-face conversation or type of level and going deep on topics. I swear to God, there's so many times I find myself in conversations with people and I'm just like, I don't want to be out of this conversation. I'm taking ear beating. They're talking about some shit that's like, it's like playing chess with somebody that can't really play chess. It's just like, I'm wasting my time. This isn't something I want to talk about. This is an empty conversation. I remember I was sitting with my friends earlier on a Zoom chat. I don't want to get too long-winded here, but we were all sitting around and the topic came up of, we were doing some type of verses between DMX and like Snoop Dogg. And then we got in this debate of like, yo, who's better, DMX, Snoop Dogg? Yo, let's look up their top 10 songs and go through them. And in my mind, I'm like, this is the dumbest conversation.
I so don't want to be here.
I don't want to be a part. Like, who fucking cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? And literally, we're having this conversation because nobody has anything insightful to bring to the table that we can really dig into. We're all sitting around eating fruit snacks and, you know, stomachs growling. I find like a lot of people live in that perpetual state. People want to have these conversations. And when you have these conversations, it's almost like a sitting down with a therapist. It's a very therapeutic thing for people. They're able to get things off their chest. They're able to get new insights and perspectives and hear other people instead of being in this echo chamber of what they believe. Conversation is a very important thing, man. And that's part of why I started this podcast.
That is powerful, because what I find is a lot of people that are so busy fixated on other people's lives, like Will and Jada and the entanglement and all these other things, they are not, I don't know if all of them are like this, but I see a lot of people that are not intensely focused and engaged with their own life and what they're creating and really all in. Because I find that the more all in you are on what you're doing and what you're creating, not in a selfish way, just in a really devoted way to some higher cause or whatever your jam is, the less time you really have to pay attention and have all this commentary on everything other people are doing.
Right. And a lot of people allow, not only do they share their own thoughts online, but they'll allow the echo chamber or group think that's going on right now to actually affect how they think and feel and how they view the world. And I'm a person that, like, you know, I stand in like, for example, I stand in solidarity with Black people in this country. We've been done wrong. All the injustices, those are facts. It's very, very true. But I find a lot of Black people try to fall into the victim mode of that, of I am a victim. This is, I can't get ahead because X, Y, and Z. And while I will acknowledge the injustices and agree that there needs to be change and the system needs to be challenged and questioned, I also do not subscribe to the fucking notion that I am in a certain place because of the color of my skin and I'm a victim of injustice. And I will never say that that will stop me from accomplishing anything that I want to do in this country or in this life. And a lot of people will allow that shit to defeat them. And then they spend all their money on this activism, all their energy and time on this activism cause or this, you know, and they get in chat rooms with people and they're angry and everyone's bouncing their anger off each other. And it's very problem based and not very solution based, you know. And, you know, if you take back the power in your own hands and think about your own life and your own personal circumstances, you can actually use that power and you can be in charge. But if you, like you said, if you hack into this what everybody else is doing and thinking, you'll defeat yourself before you even begin.
Absolutely. Sure. But it takes more work to be a powerful person than it does to be a victim. It's like nobody ever fell up Mount Everest, right?
That's a great analogy, right?
Mount Everest, no. Or I'm at the top of Kilimanjaro. No, you have to climb it. So it's like you literally have to intentionally, and consciously, and continuously take yourself where you desire to be. That's what a creator does, I feel like. And that's what a powerful person does. Right. I mean, Tyreek is like blowing my mind for deciding, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there. And to set up your whole life circumstances that your job can take you wherever you want to go. I mean, that is freaking amazing. Like, I don't think a lot of people even consciously create their life to the place where they could live a life of global travel and still get paid and still have a great experience.
Right.
Yeah.
They use a job almost as shackles, where it seems like you use the job to go and do what you want to do anyway.
Right. It was like boat coverage for the shackles. That's amazing.
Yeah. Even when I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to live outside the U.S. Like, I think for my birthday, I wanted a globe because I really like to look at the globe, and I used to just point to a random place, like, you know, close your eyes, point to a place, be like, man, I wonder what they look like, I wonder what they eat, I wonder what they speak. So when I graduated from college, I was like, man, I got to get out of here. I was like, I got to get out to the U.S. and I never looked back. So it definitely is a humbling experience to live in different places and just be around people who don't come from the same background as you. I think it really made me who I am today. So I really credit my friends and all the people I've met for just shaping me into this person. But definitely got to get out. And, and there's nothing stopping you. Like what you said, Chris, you know, I acknowledge a lot of this stuff too. The other day I had a conversation with my coworker, and we were talking about, like, you know, what it's like to be Black. And he was just like, hey, dog, man, real question for you. He was like, yo, do you ever feel like you being Black prevented you from doing anything? And I stopped. I thought about it. And I was just like, nah. I was like, nah. It may have been something blatant that I didn't know about, but I've never really, I never really seen it. But it is different though, because I'm from the suburbs. So I'm not from the inner city, so I wasn't born in them circumstances where it is tough to get out and, you know, you're around a toxic environment. So it's a bit different. But when I thought about it, I was just like, nah. It's like I've literally done everything I wanted to do. And so I think a lot of people are stuck in that mindset. But yeah, you know, you have the power to ultimately do what you want. And like, you know, the other day, random story, you know, I wake up in the morning and, you know, your iPhone tells you how much time you spend on the screen. Man, I was embarrassed. my iPhone said I spent an average of 8 hours a day on the phone, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of Instagram, a lot of Facebook, and
Wow.
I was disgusted at myself, and so I was thinking, man, what if I used that 8 hours to do something more productive? You know, like improve my Chinese, improve my Japanese, or just or learn a new language. Um, and there's nothing stopping me. Like you really have the power to do anything you want. Like if you wanted to be fluent in Chinese, there's nothing stopping you from just studying,
Right.
finding the tutor on Craigslist. Like you can literally do whatever you want. There's nothing stopping you. If you wanted to be a computer engineer, there's nothing stopping you from literally just learning the courses. And so when I looked at that time I spent on my iPhone, I said, wow, like this is an active decision I'm making to waste my time. I definitely need to be more creative. It's crazy.
I love that. I love that you said that, man.
Wow.
I'm a person that people find very weird because I've never had a Twitter. I'm barely ever on Facebook. Like I literally just updated my Facebook profile with my actual hair now. Like I have an old ass
Oh,
picture on this.
oh.
And yeah, with like that backwards hat. That shit was so old. It's like a 10-year-old picture. I'm like never on social media, and in turn, because of that, I'm very rarely like on my phone. I'm very like there with people, and it's so weird. Like I get in like little mini like battles with people all the time of just like I'm like, hey man, like one thing I hate personally, I hate when I sit down and like watch a movie with somebody, right? And they pick up their phone. You get on their phone during the movie. It's like, dude, have you ever done that? Like when you sit and you're watching somebody and they pick up their phone, like the fucking energy just immediately drops. Immediately.
It's like
Yeah, like your
It
energy
was
goes
like a
down.
drone.
Yeah, like my energy goes down. Like, oh, maybe this movie's stupid. The
And then
fucking
they just start trolling.
right. They're not engaged.
Mindless robot.
And you're just sitting there like, and you don't want to be a dick. Like we're all adults. I'm not telling anybody to get off their phone, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, just fucking watch the movie with me. Like what?
what it is.
Yeah.
It's addictive. It's addicting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like let's say for example on Instagram, you upload a photo and you're getting likes. Is shots of dopamine in your brain. You're getting off from that. Every time you get a like, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Self gratification. And this is the first time and now you can get it at any moment. Anytime you need that fix, you can just put something, a status or a photo. So people are addicted to it now. Like we need our shot of it. And I think that's what causes people to. It's literally mind control. And the interesting thing, if you ever look at the CEOs of these companies, let's say for example, Apple, I forgot who it was, but the CEO said that he does not let his son use any iPhone or iPads or anything like that. They said he has to wait till he's a certain age. So even the people that are in charge of making these products, they understand the damage that these products can do to the psyche of people.
Profound. As a matter of fact, I was just looking for that app, the Newsfeed Eradicator for Facebook. So they just put like inspirational quotes where the newsfeed is. The newsfeed is just so addictive. And it's designed that way. Very addictive.
I mean, is that my computer or do you guys hear a staticky sound?
I think so. I'm not sure. Unless the singularity joins us. I think that artificial intelligence wants to share the conversation with us. I don't know. I think it's yours. Is it, Chris? Very interesting.
Yeah, I just muted mine and the sound is. Can you hear that?
Up, Chris?
I hear that echoing sound in the chat, or am I going insane?
It's very interesting.
You guys hear it, right?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of fuzzy.
Some interdimensional being is trying to communicate with us.
They say they've been here for a while. It could be some of the aliens speaking. So I don't know.
Right.
Marco, thank you for being here for 7 years. I love it.
Everyone mute real quick, please, for me. All right, now there it is. See, it's some type of feedback from just literally our audio. I'm gonna mute mine, and then you guys talk, and you can see if it's mine or yours.
Oh, it's definitely. I think it's yours first, because I don't hear it now. But can you hear us though? Yeah, I think it. One of you two. Somebody's mic is a little fuzzy.
I don't know.
Oh God.
Maybe it's on.
God, I think it might be yours.
It might be me
Yeah,
because.
it's coming from you because Chris is muted.
Oh, me and Chris.
Yeah, I don't hear from Chris. He's muted.
Okay. All right, I'm unmuted. Now you hear it. What the hell? I'm sorry. I'm on a Mac laptop, and I think it heard us talking shit about Apple, and now.
Wow.
They do not.
That's really good propaganda too.
That's great. As soon as you say certain keywords, and they're like, "Oh, that's how you feel about us." Well, watch what happens to your mic.
I guess that's time to end. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we were ready to wrap up. I love that conversation you're just about to get into about social media. I think that's a beautiful topic to cover. That's dope. We'll definitely save that for another one. I would love to talk about that. But just, moral of the story, everyone, cut down your screen time. Hey, go outside, smell some flowers. Fuck. Jesus.
Go out to the beach if they didn't close the beach.
Right.
Beach, right?
You can't. You know how many people post photos of them? I'm sorry. No.
Oh no, I had one quick question for Tyreek. I know you're in California. Are you able to go out with Gavin Newsom? He's been like this petty tyrant trying to keep everybody away from the beaches and whatnot. How is it in California now? Are people able to go to the beach?
We can go out. We can go out. Yeah. It was crazy. The governor had opened everything up, so I was back at the gym. I was at LA Fitness, and it was open for like a week. And then we had a spike in cases, so he closed everything. But the parks are open. You can go to the park and go to the trail. Some of the beaches are open, so life is pretty normal. But I think as a whole, the state, we were like in phase 2. And I think we went back to phase 1. So we'll be like that until next month. I think the 15th. I was like over there in DC and New Orleans.
New Orleans is coming back to life. I like it here. It was so. It did something to my soul to see Bourbon Street deserted. I did a whole video walking through Bourbon Street. That's not the Bourbon Street I've known for the last, decade. Something about, drunk people on Bourbon Street. You just expect that. And it was sobering. It looked like an After Earth dystopian movie to see Bourbon Street and my beautiful home, New York City, clear. Like never in a million years did you think you would see that. And so now it's coming back to life. So I'm very happy New Orleans is coming back to life.
That's amazing. I've always wanted to visit New Orleans, so yeah, you guys need to get it back together so I can be drunk on Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street. I mean, what's life if you haven't never gotten drunk on Bourbon Street?
Right? That's on my bucket list for sure. DC is a very super political city, and very left leaning, and for some reason masks have become like politicized here or in America. So a lot of people were wearing masks have been like kind of politicized in America. But luckily, DC is a very left leaning city. So a lot of people were wearing their masks, and that helped us to keep our numbers pretty low. So we're also starting to open back up. A lot of people are out picnicking now. A lot of things are starting to open and get back to normal. That's great.
Beautiful.
This has been amazing. We definitely have to wrap it up because the ghosts are eating the stream. So this is awesome. Yeah, we're not really sure whose feedback it is, Miss Treasure. We tried a bunch of different mutings and unmutings. Right now, it's just like the universe is like, this has been a beautiful talk. wrap it up. They're playing that music, the orchestra music, when your speech goes too long. So that's what it sounds like when the universe does it. It's very they really want you to get out of there. Wrap it up. So this has been awesome. Once again, Tyreek, Gavin, appreciate you coming on here. Valerie Love, always a beautiful conversation. I am Chris Golden. You can follow me at Chris G Comedy. That's my Instagram. Comedy will be starting back up again soon. You can see some stand-up if you're in the DC area or just online. I post some shit on YouTube. If you guys have anything to plug, please do. Other than that, I am out of here personally.
I just want to say thank you for hosting your Blow My Cartridge podcast on YouTube today.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to host on this platform. Everybody in the chat that's been watching, I appreciate you dealing with the technical bullshit. And I appreciate you guys hearing out our conversation. One last thing before I go, what was I going to say? Tyreek, do you feel like we blew a little bit of the dust? We blew some of the dust out of your cartridge, my friend.
Wait, you said what?
Do you feel like you tell them, Val? Do you feel like we blew a little bit of the dust out of your cartridge, my friend?
I can't really hear it.
Did we blow a little bit of the dust out of your cartridge?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, this was great. We definitely got to do a part 2 next time.
Yo, for sure. I would love to have you back on. And when you do come back on, I would love to delve into that screen time social media talk. That's a beautiful topic that a lot of people need to focus a little bit more on, I think. Enjoyed this immensely. Thank you, Linda. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here for my first episode. There will be many more. You guys have been awesome. Peace and blessing. Much love. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tyreek. Peace.
Bye-bye.